welcome to Visions. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Dr. Helen Light, who's the Director of the Jewish Museum of Australia. Welcome to the program, Dr. Helen.
Thank you, Mirella.
Can you start with telling us a little bit about your background?
Well, I was born in Melbourne, luckily,
Yeah.
because both my parents ended up here as refugees, both pre and post-war.
Yeah.
And I've always been blessed to have ended up here. I had a very lovely childhood in Melbourne, and I studied classics. I got a doctorate in classics and specialised in Latin literature.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I was very blessed to be able to study what I wanted.
Yes.
But there weren't many jobs in classics by the time I'd finished, so I looked for another job, and eventually there was a job in the Jewish News looking for somebody 2 days a week as an administrator for the newly formed Jewish Museum. So I applied, and they hesitated because they were worried about my typing.
Oh, okay. They didn't like your typing?
They didn't think I was a good enough typist, but they decided they'd give me a go. They were actually worried I was a bit overqualified.
Really?
But I had worked also at Monash University in the gallery, so I had some exhibition experience, and I got the job, and I was very, very lucky because the museum had just opened, and so I was part of developing a whole vision and a dream, and that's really been the story since then.
And how would you say being Jewish has informed your views on life and also on the museum? I know it's been your way of life all your life,
Yeah.
but as you grow you sort of...
Probably in many, many ways, much of which I'm not conscious of. I think being a member of a minority in a host majority culture enables one to appreciate difference, to appreciate the underdog, to understand people's needs and desires more sensitively than others maybe. As a Jew, I feel it's really enriched my life. It makes me aware of my history, my heritage. It also makes me aware of the passing of time through the celebrations, the annual cycle of celebrations we have, and through the ways we mark the Jewish year and mark, you know, the different events and the seasons, and so that enriches my life. And most importantly, I think in relation to my family and the importance of family in terms of continuity.
And values, family values.
Exactly.
And how did the Jewish Museum come about in the first place?
It was a dream of one man, particularly Rabbi Ronald Lebowski, and a group of people. They felt that being here, look, on the edge of the Jewish world, it was really important to preserve and celebrate Jewish life here. In Melbourne is the largest percentage per Jewish population of Holocaust survivors in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it was really important for these people, and Rabbi Lebowski was aware of it, to understand and maintain and preserve and share the roots that have caused Judaism to endure over thousands and thousands of years. And so he set about founding a Jewish museum.
Right. And how is it received by other people? What sort of response do you get from people?
Well, very positive. People come to our museum and they think that it's going to be a sad place, that it's about the Holocaust. And in fact, there is a Holocaust museum in Melbourne, but that's not us, because we're about celebrating being Jewish and being Australian. When people come in the door, they're actually blown away because it's a bright, it's a cheerful, it's a happy place. We have great volunteers, 300 volunteers, and many of them are guides, so they welcome the people, show them around. It's a really state-of-the-art contemporary museum with a lot of interactives, a lot of whiz-bang display techniques. It's an exciting place. It's always buzzing with life.
And what kind of exhibitions and things do you have in this museum? What can people expect if they walk through the door?
Well, we have 4 permanent exhibitions, 2 about what it means to be Jewish, about the Jewish beliefs and rituals, and about the Jewish year, and 2 historical ones, a timeline of Jewish history, 4,000 years of Jewish history in a corridor, plus the heart of our museum and what makes us special, which is our Australian Jewish History Gallery, which is right at the core of our museum, and we're the only museum really in the world that has that as its core and its chief mission.
And so it's fairly formative, so people can find out about the Jewish religion.
Then we have changing exhibitions and on all different themes, and that's really exciting program. We have about 3 exhibitions a year on, you know, contemporary Jewish culture and art, on history, on biblical history, social history, And we have exhibitions from overseas, exhibitions we make ourselves, and we try and change the environment so it's always exciting to come. And they appeal to different audiences who have different interests as well. So.
And how are these exhibitions presented? Are they in the form of photography, sculptures, art?
Installation art.
Yeah.
The current exhibition we have is a fabulous exhibition, and I'd love to show it to you. It's a really challenging exhibition. It brings in all the themes we've discussed. It's called Diaspora, Homeland and Exile, and it's the work, about 50 photographs of an artist, a photographer, Frederick Brenner from Paris.
Yeah.
He travelled around the Jewish world for about 25 years, did 80,000 photographs. Recording and trying to find out what it means to be a Jew. He started off by doing documentary photographs, photographing what he saw, but then he spent longer in a place and he set up and constructed photographs to reflect his ironic and questioning view of what it means to be Jewish. And in the end, he talks very much about the notion of otherness, like I mentioned at the beginning, that we are all others within a host culture, but we're all many fragments that make up ourselves. Right. So being Jewish is only part of us. The other parts of us is being, like here, being I would be Jewish, I'm Australian, I'm of German and Dutch background, I'm interested in reading and music, and all of that shapes who we are.
And what's he saying in the picture with all the motorbikes?
Well, I think that's an ironic one. That breaks down a stereotype of what a Jew is. It's in a synagogue. Obviously, they're observant, these guys, but they look like Hell's Angels on bikes, don't they? With their beards, and they're Jewish. So it just says you can't stereotype what it means to be Jewish, because we're many things.
Beautiful. We're about to go to a break now.
Okay.
You're watching Visions. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.